Welcome to another In the Labs with me, David. In this month's free project, we're going to make the bedside phone docker. As you saw in the clip, if you're like me, you keep a lot of things on your bedside table just gathering dust, and you need somewhere to prop up your phone as well. You could never do that, and you never know what the time is during the night. So this little box should solve all those problems. Inside you've got a place to keep your bits and pieces from your bedside table. You've got a little light here that illuminates during the night, so you don't have to wake anyone up. You've also got a sound box here to amplify the sound of your phone, and a little charger. Your charger cable comes through here for charging your phone during the evening as well. And most importantly, being able to support your phone during the evening. Okay, let's go and see how we made this in the software.
Okay, before we get started, and to avoid complication, I've made two sets of files. There's the machining files, which I'll show you in a few moments, and then afterwards for how to construct, so construction files. You can download both of them, and the first one is to show you how you can machine the item so you can get started straight away onto the project, and the second lot of notes and files are for how I constructed this model and put it together, and you can use both of them if you want to. The first one is in both an imperial and millimeter sizes, so be careful to download the format that you require. Okay, before we get started on the project, this is quite a complex project. It has front and back, so it's flip machining for every part. There are 10 parts, and there are around about 3 to 4 toolpaths per side. If you haven't tackled double-sided machining before, then I suggest that you take a look at some of the training videos that we have on the Vectric website, just to sort of familiarise yourself with front and back and flip machining. Okay, we're going to open up the files, so we're just going to open the existing new one. Be careful to make sure it's either imperial or metric, and open up those files, and we'll just go through them in the list. You can do them any way, it doesn't really matter, but we'll start as they're listed this way. We'll do it alphabetically. I'm going to open the file and we'll start machining. So these are the machining files to get you started very quickly. Again, before you put it onto your machine, please be aware of this information here on the first screen, and make sure that you are careful to reorganize the toolpaths to suit your machine. Okay, I've tried to make sure that all the models fit into either 5/8 or 3/4 material, and they machine, you'll note here, they machine off the same surface here, so material same surface and zero off the same side. So the first one here, you'll be off the top of the material that you put in, and here it'll be from the bed of the machine as you turn it over. So that way it means that you don't really have to change the toolpath too much, as long as the material isn't too diverse in its thickness. So for instance, the backs and the tops are generally 3/8 thick, so you can, if you get the material a little bit thicker than that, all we're doing really is making sure the top surface is fine when you come to machine. So if we go to this top surface here, we're going to pocket these items out right at the top surface. I'll just open up so you can see what I mean. So we're going to pocket out these toolpaths from here, and then when you turn over, you've got the model on the other side, and this particular thickness here is around about 3/8, something like that. But it means that you can turn it over, you can use a little bit thicker material, and the toolpaths will already accommodate. I've made sure that it's for thicker material if you want to. If you didn't want to use that material thickness here, just change these sizes here and recalculate the toolpaths, otherwise you can use them as they are. And don't forget that we are doing double-sided machining here. So these are really important too. We have the drill holes on the front and the back. So if we go to the back, we have the corresponding drill holes here for the back profile. Okay. Again, on this particular one here, for the back of this model, you don't really need to do any 3D toolpath at all. I think you could get away with molding toolpaths and just pockets. Okay, if we just now concentrate, we have them all listed here. So this is the front model. I'm going to machine little pockets here with a 1/8 slot drill into that surface. We can see how those are going to work too. So if we just have a quick look at that, if I want to have a look at the preview, and we can run those into the surface. Again, I want to use 1/4 inch now next time, and I'm going to run that one. This is for the profiling. If I just double click on those, you'll see I've made some tabs on this one that just hold it in place while we're cutting it. And go back to the preview, and also I want to drill down using the same drill, so the 1/4 inch drill, straight to do the drill holes too. So look at those, and those are done. Okay, when we go to the opposite side, you need to make sure that I've put the drill as number 1. You'll notice I've numbered them all as well on either side, and I would suggest that you use them in that order. And you'll notice on this side here, again the same, the drill will probably be the number 1 thing that you do, the first thing you do. And when you go onto this side, this is after you've flipped the model. So you've done your first toolpath, you've now taken that off the machine, and then you want to drill the holes in the spoil board. So just make sure this one goes on its own, and you can run those toolpaths. And I'll show you the meaning of that in a moment. I'm just going to show you why you would do that. And we'll run the toolpaths for this one. So that should machine through. Again, we want to go for a 1/4 inch again for the roughing toolpath. Again, you don't have to have a roughing toolpath here. It's only because I've got a 3D model. You can just use a pocket if you wanted to for this, for 2D machining. This is just to take down the material. I've done a pocket for the finish. So this is right to surface now, because there's nothing else really to do on that surface. And I have done a profile to cut around the edge, just to trim off and through, so we can see the tabs that are holding the model on. And then I've done a little swept profile here. This is sort of moulding toolpath, just to round off those edges, and you can use this quite effectively if you haven't got a 3D model. So you can see now all the toolpaths are in. Now what we can do, this applies to all the toolpaths that we're going to do, and I'll whiz on some of the other ones now. This is just this is a general rule for all the, this is a genuine rule for all the models that you're going to cut in this project. There are 10 of these panels that you're going to make of varying sorts, and there are toolpaths for each side. So you're going to have to flip between each one. So it's sort of 20 sides, but 10 flips. That's one of the reasons that I've kept it quite separately from the construction models, which are mainly for the Aspire users, as we'll need to sweep some profiles and make some shapes. And you can't do all, because we've got quite a lot of curves in this model, we won't be able to do that in just as CVR files for the VCarve customers. Okay, when you're saving toolpaths, what you can do, so we're going to go from the front folder first of all. So these here, you'll notice I've also, not only have I numbered them, I've also put the size of the diameter of the bit that we're going to use to cut the model. So when these are like this, you can actually group these together. The drill one, I'll emphasize that one again here because it is quite important on the flip, but on the first side it can be incorporated in the toolpath folder. So we can see here we've got a 1/8 slot drill here, so we'll need to save that on its own. So if we just go to this one here and save the toolpath out, you can save them to any machine that you have. I'm going to save them, this one first of all, this pocket. It's the only tool that I have that's 1/8. Save toolpath. I'm going to put it into my toolpath section here, so I can organise them a little bit easier. I'm going to start adding some new folders in here. So this is going to be back, and I'm going to call this A. And I'm also going to make a new folder for the opposite side, and this is B. So now I can store the toolpath for the A and toolpath for the B in the appropriate files. And I want A first of all because it's the top. I'm going to save this in, it's number 1. So I've had A and B for front and back, and I've also got 1, 2, 3, or the order of tools that we're going to use in this particular section. Okay, the next ones, these can go together because they're using the same toolpath. So we can put those together and they're in the correct order. So I want to profile first and then I want to drill. So that's fine. I'm going to save this toolpath. And in here, you can see it says profile, but I'm going to add something to that so I know exactly what's in it. And you can see it's made up of a profile and a drill. So I'm going to just write in drill here. And it's a 1/4 inch drill that I'm going to use. So it's a 1/4 inch SD. And I'm going to save that folder. So now if we go and have a look at those, you'll see in my A pocket I've got 2 files now rather than the 3, because these are going to do both. So that's fine. So it'll, as it finishes the profile, it'll go and drill, just to save you a little bit of time. As we get more and more complex toolpaths, you'll see that that does save a lot of time. Now we're going to go to the B one. So we just need to flip these over and have a look at the opposite side. And you can see here now I've got quite a few toolpaths now that all share the same profile. So there's slot drills. This is a ball nose at the end, so we must be careful about that one. And the drill, because I've flipped it, this drill should not be combined with the other toolpaths, because the toolpaths are for the opposite side. So they're for this side. So these toolpaths are to cut the model itself. But the drill is now for positioning after I've flipped. So the first toolpath that we have to save on its own, and we need to run that on its own when we flip the model. So this goes into the spoil board so that all the dowels line up from the previous side. So we're going to save this toolpath first. I need to go into my next section, which is B, and it's going to be number 1, and we're going to drill that with a 1/4 inch drill. Okay, so the next one, the next 3 actually use the same toolpath, and I want to do a roughing pass. Again, this could be just a pocket. I'm going to do a pocket finish, and I'm going to do a profile toolpath as well. These can all stay together, so we're going to save those, and I'm going to emphasize that when I write it in here. So this is going to be a roughing, pocket, and profile. So this is number 2. I'm going to save that one out, and then number 3, it's number 5 here, but it'll be number 3 in our finished toolpath. This is a moulding toolpath now. So this is just, again, it can be a 2D toolpath. You don't need the underlying 3D model for this at all. It's just using these 2 shapes here. So it's using this shape and a vector that I've drawn around the outside here. So very, very simple options. So I'm going to use a moulding toolpath for this one. I'm just going to sweep this around the outside of this model. But I want to save this now. This is a 1/4 inch ball nose this time. There's no other model that's like this one, so I just need to save that out. Again, I'm going to save the toolpath. I've highlighted it. I'm going to change the number now. You could leave it as number 5, but I'm going to change to number 3 here, because this is a profile cut. I'm going to save that. And if we go and have a look at those now, you can see I've got 3 toolpaths. The second toolpath combines 3 of the same tool, and the last toolpath is a ball nose. So I've tried to do that in all of the models that you'll see. So you should have in every file, there'll be a back file with an A and a B. Inside the A, which is the top, A refers to the top, B refers to the back. There'll be numbers then referring to which toolpath is first, and if they're combined. So profile drill is a combined one here. I would suggest that you do that rather than using each individual toolpath for your machine, and the same thing goes here for the back file. So it's a drill first of all, which needs to drill out the flip, so they're drilling the spoil board, and then you have followed by a toolpath containing a roughing, pocket, and a profile, and then a swept profile, which is a moulding toolpath with a ball nose tool. I would suggest this is the way that you store the toolpaths in the A and the B, so for front and the back. You can just use them directly off the files that we give you, and they're listed 1 to whatever number in a particular order. Okay, we can take another look at another file. Just cancel that one. I'm going to open another one. Let's go through it again. We'll open a new one. We'll call this the base this time. Say OK to that. Again, read the notes, make sure you understand those, and I'll just open that up, and the toolpaths themselves, just pin that open. Okay, again we've got a front and a back here, so the front's going to have these little pockets cut into the surface, and you could probably do this again in 2D. You don't need actually these models in here, you could do 2D toolpaths for all these. So the first thing we're going to do is a pocket. So we'll need to save these, and this is on its own, so it's 1/8 slot drill. So I'm going to save that toolpath. I'll save it out into the toolpaths. So we're going to make a new model called base B, base A first of all for the front, and then a new one called base B. And and then we can start saving the toolpath. So in base A, this is the front file, I'm going to save this first one, which is a pocket. So go to that. My next toolpath is a finishing toolpath, but this is a ball nose this time, not a slot drill, so I'm going to save that one. And we'll just save it straight in from there. And you can see the next two are using the same. So this is a profile and a drill. And on this side, the drill's okay because it's the first side. So it's going to drill into the material that you have. If we just have a quick look at those, there's your profile, there's your drills, and we will save those into the next one. So I'm going to save that as a profile and add it here as a drill. And save. That's my first one. Again, this is only a suggestion. You can use them directly from here if you want to. Just use the list of tools. I just find it easier if you put it into a folder, and then you don't get confused then. And then I'm going to look at the back folder. So here we have 5 toolpaths. Let's have a look at all those. So the first one is a drill, a roughing pass, and so the drill has to be on its own because it's a flip. So first of all, I'm going to save that as a drill. I'll go back up one layer, base B. This is the drill for the flip for the spoil board. And then I'm going to add this one here because that's got a slot drill again, and a slot drill. So these are 1/4 inch slot drills, and in that order it's going to rough, finish and profile. And the last one is a ball nose. So we'll do these 3 first. Save those and we'll just add them in. You can add in exactly what else it's doing. So this is going to be a finish and profile. And we'll save that one. And then the last one I'm going to do is the ball nose. Save this one. I'm just going to change that number, like I say, to a 3 rather than a 5, just so I know that's the order that they're going to be in. And so now I have those listed to 1, 2, 3. If I go back up one, I've got an A and a B for the base. A is the front and B is the back. And I would suggest that you do these just to make things a little easier. Again, you can just use them directly from here if you want to. Okay, I think that sort of completes the machining files and how to use them and how to store them really in new folders to try and make it a little bit easier to follow the front and the back, an A and a B. Alternatively, you can just use the numbers on the side that I've already set, and you can go through in that order. Use the job dimensions here for the material sizes, and if you want to see how we constructed these models, then download from the Vectric website. Okay, if you systematically now work through those files, as we've done these couple of examples, they're all pretty much laid out the same way. So hopefully you should be able to machine everything and then get them all together for assembly. Well, that's the theory. Let's go and see how it worked out in the workshop.
Well, I hope you enjoyed watching how we made this project. If you'd like to make your own, head over to your V&Co account and download the free files. If you like what you've seen, thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.